We are presently in session.
I didn't do it.
We are now in open. May I have everybody please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are currently in session, having just come from exec. Our first order of business is to look at our agenda. And are there any items that anybody would like pulled? Any questions? Any further discussion? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, the items within the consent agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, that brings us to donations. I have that. Carson, you could do this here. We have 3 separate donations. Once again, we have the Katzensteins, which is for special ed summer school. Special ed summer camp. We have a donation from, if you just give me 1 second, I have it all. We have a donation for, I had it all. The Mira family donated, yeah, I had it here. I don't know what,
Do you have any questions?
Carson's on top of it. We should just let you run it. A donation for graduation, and we have a donation from the Mira family.
When I look at it at home,
I believe it was, I think Carson was $1,000, was it not?
Yep,
but if I don't,
I'm sorry,
for the middle school.
could we please go to the donation section, please? And
And another was
just
a
what-
family
one was graduation, the other was
for scholarship, for scholarship.
yeah, I want to make sure that we, acknowledge what specifically it was for.
Right there, acceptance of donations up at the top.
Mhm.
And then if you open
If you
up
could
the
go to
mirror-
Mira family, the one on the right, please.
The Mira family,
There you
yep.
go. Thank you. Oh, make it a little bigger.
Yeah.
For all the blind people here.
If you go
Go
down,
back down.
it'll come up again. There you go.
Okay. That was the,
Holiday gift cards.
Hang on,
the holiday baskets, thank you. I knew it was, the Blue Mountain Middle School does do holiday baskets, and this family was kind enough to donate $1,000 to help the middle school get these holiday baskets and put together, gift cards to put them together for the grocery stores and, to put this together for needy families. Thank you very much. What a wonderful thing to give, especially this time of year when you realize just how much you do have and how much other people may or may not have. So thank you for being so generous. And the other was for, I believe, graduation. It was a donation for the, I think it's, again, I apologize, here it is. The third was for the recipient, the high school. It was a graduation award in the name of Helene and John McQuaid. And again, it was $1,000 for someone in the graduating class of 2014. And once again, can I get a motion to approve these donations?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And with a very hearty thank you from the board. This is very generous. That brings us to our superintendent's report. Actually, we have audience comments. So we have an audience. Do you have comments? Okay. Then that would bring us to our superintendent's report.
Okay, well, we have very good news to share that was broken last night around 9:10 p.m. is that our capital project bond passed by more than a 2-to-1 margin, which
Yeah,
is,
thank you.
we are very excited and thankful to the community and thankful to the board who made some very difficult and painstaking decisions. My communication with folks that I've been talking to before the vote was that this board listened. You took feedback from the previous vote 2 years ago. You studied that information. The facilities committee met for a little over a year to really identify the must-haves. We did another survey in the fall, and I don't think anyone could suggest that there was not ample opportunity for input or participation from the staff and the community. So I know that the board gets paid very, very well to do this job, and you,
Yeah.
you
Make the most of it.
achieved a big victory last night. And also congratulations to Enrique and his staff for the success of the campaign.
Thank
I
you,
think
thank
it
you.
was a very transparent and information was well publicized for people to be able to weigh in on. We had very little, I guess, participation and attendance at our board meetings. I think now in retrospect we could suggest that that's because of the upfront work the board did and Enrique and his team to communicate the plan and give people options to come and hear about it. We held maybe 6 or 7 community forums. We put everything online. We talked about it at every board meeting. So it was a big victory for our team, and with that comes a trip that Enrique and I will make to Albany next Tuesday. We have an appointment at 3 o'clock next Tuesday with the Office of Facilities Planning. That essentially is our opportunity to unroll our plans and ask them to please hurry up and approve them so we don't have to have that 6-month waiting period, but also to petition the state to see if they'll release some funds early for our technology piece, to be able to capture the week in February and week in April when we don't have staff and students to perhaps make some purchases and do some of those upgrades so we can experience the impact of the technology bond before the end of the school year. So we'll certainly keep you in the loop with how that conversation goes, but we'll be up there next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Today, I was in Albany, actually west of Albany in Johnstown, and we participated in our first regional meeting for our National Career College and Career Transition meeting, which is the $15,000 grant in year 1 that we received. So I have a handout, and I'll certainly send this electronically, but this is essentially the gist of what we talked about today and what the scope of our work will be in building career pathways and building career readiness for our students, not just high school students, but also middle school students. As you are well aware, and I have come to learn in short order, we do a great job with Project Lead the Way. This participation will essentially allow us to build on the successes of Project Lead the Way in other areas outside of STEM, outside of engineering and the medical field, perhaps the digital arts, perhaps the legal field, other opportunities in medicine. It's really an opportunity for us as a community to work with our business leaders to dream a little bit about what other opportunities exist in middle school and high school to prepare students. Jazz Munitz, our student board rep, I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to talk about his experience in the biomedical field. I had the opportunity to sit in on his presentation
Science.
earlier in the fall in the science research class, and that course and those sequence of courses that he and his fellow students are experiencing as a result of the community connection through Project Lead the Way. Our participation here will allow us to branch into other areas than just engineering and science, which I think is really exciting for students who aren't scientists or mathematicians, but are artists and interested in other fields. We will meet with a team of folks from the National Center next Monday in the free library all day. They have a team of staff coming from Washington that will meet with a group of middle school and high school administrators and teachers, and Alice and myself and our business leaders to essentially have the first brainstorm of what might this look like for our community. The Chamber of Commerce will participate, Westchester Community College. We believe a representative from Cooper Union from down in Manhattan will participate. Folks from all different areas. I've been emailing with Carol's husband, so make sure David shows up on Monday. But to have representation from different career fields not only in our backyard, in our community, but in our local region, to advise us on what skills and credentials employees need today, and back that into a sequence of electives or strengthening current courses so that connection is much more deliberate. And so what we're doing in the classroom is really more of career planning rather than just hoping students get into college and figure it out there. Oftentimes when kids go to college, it's too late and it's really expensive. College is a really expensive endeavor to go and try different things out. So the earlier we can create awareness with students and parents, not only will that be more affordable, but we'll have more students leaving here and graduating in 12th grade with a clearer picture and some experiences of what they'd like to do with the rest of their life. So this is, I honestly believe this is going to be an opportunity to transform what a high school experience looks like for students. And there isn't a district involved in this in a 100-mile radius, and it's really unique. We're the only district in New York State. We are the only district in New York State participating. The other participants are BOCES, who have a responsibility to develop programs through career and technical education. We can propose and endorse programs that are unique to Hendrick Hudson. So it's a very great opportunity, and we left energized today, and we have a lot of work to do before Monday, so that's exciting. Two other quick updates. Speaking of December 17th, we have a fundraiser here in the cafeteria starting at 5:30, raising funds for the victims impacted by the Metro North tragedy. An email went out today soliciting either donations or your participation. We have donors from all over the place that are either donating food or resources, gift certificates to be raffled off. It's going to be, I think, a very special event. So Enrique and I are going to drive quickly from Albany back on the 17th. And my last update is we are in the survey phase of our Furnace Woods principal search. We've asked parents and staff to weigh in on characteristics they desire from their next principal. We're holding an open meeting for parents later in the evening on December 17th to narrow those characteristics down. And shortly after the new year, we will be able to actively recruit. We'll have a brochure, and we'll be able to recruit the next principal of Furnace Woods. And hopefully, if we stick to our timeline, we'll be able to deliver a candidate for board approval in late February or early March. So it's a bittersweet time as Dr. Kane looks toward retirement, but also an exciting time to bring in a new leader to lead the school. And that's my update.
Quite a bit.
Okay. Well, we can watch the tape to remember it all.
There you go. Well, I would like to say thank you very much for your efforts with the college and career transitions. Last night we were actually at the bond vote, and you know, as I left around 9:30 or so, 9:45, I drove past the district office, and his car was still there, and I'm like, go home already. I found out today he was actually drove up to Albany last night. And so thank you for your efforts in pursuing this, because it looks like a tremendous opportunity for our students, and I really look forward to seeing how this evolves. And again, what it is, it's very exciting for the kids coming in, and particularly, for children who normally, that aren't in the science and the math and it's something for everyone, and that's basically what you want to be able to do, is give each child what they need. So thank you. Before I move on to the next, I would like to, sorry, I do this all the time. I forgot to introduce our student liaison, Jazz Munitz. Thank you very much for joining us.
Of course.
He's part of the student government. As Mr. Hochreiter said, he is also part of the science research, and he has done tremendously well. You're very much a leader in that program as well. And I've heard good things about you. So
I don't know who you're hearing them from, but I'll take it.
But we welcome you. So
Thank you,
I
thank you.
apologize for not introducing you sooner, but we welcome
Please.
you.
Thank you.
That brings us to committee reports. Yes.
I just had a quick question for Joe on the Community Pathways Plan. I've just skimmed it quickly, but it looks as if it's a way to implement a strategic plan for the community, incorporate. So are we going to incorporate our strategic plan into that? How are we going to move along forward? That's kind of what I'm reading it as. When you have goals, visions, and all kinds of things. So
It's all just
it's going to be a
evolving at this point,
strategic
isn't
plan
it?
for the community and educational.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a combination of a lot of the work the district has done with the strategic plan, with the systems, particularly the high school is set up to lead to such a robust Project Lead the Way program, and to brainstorm what other career fields are out there that we can have as much community or business engagement as Project Lead the Way in other areas. So I think it's a push-pull. I think the strategic plan will push this,
Mhm.
and I also think that these initiatives will pull the next iteration of the strategic plan. So I think it's a really interesting crossroads. And as we sort of brainstorm today with our group where we would like to see the Hen HUD plan, we were reflecting on pieces of the strategic plan that are in there currently
Mhm.
and pieces that we'd like to add
That's what it's
as a
supposed to
result
be
of this
about,
work.
not common
Okay, thank you.
That brings us then to committee reports. You know, Finance Committee met yesterday evening, and as, you know,
Very robotic.
at this point, we are pretty much just starting, we obviously discussed the bond and the implications, but also started the groundwork, or continued the groundwork, for the 2014-15 budget. At this point, it's a little soon to be, you know, there's really no details to really convey at this point, but, you know, we are looking at not only 14-15, but on past that. As always, we look at a, you know, several-year plan and how it impacts the year after. To be honest, were there any other committee reports, committees?
We did meet and greet, the three of us,
Okay.
on Saturday in Joe. We had a half dozen to 8 people show up, come down and sit. Some people sat for a long time. Combination of parents in the community and some teachers and other staff. Some of the things that came out, I asked them what their wishes were. And they said they wished that we had more hands-on programs with real-life experiences, similar to the Project
There
Lead
you
the Way.
go.
The biomedical fields, their daughter was in the biomedical field. The science research, those kind of things, they'd like to see those expanded. Keep pushing the technology incorporation in the buildings. And not just tech for the sake of it, but how to incorporate it into productive use. And have teachers be technologically fluent,
Oh,
you know, so that they can use it for teaching.
I'm
And also, a real specific request for us to get technology on the regular budget so that we don't have to bond for it every 7 to 10 years, you know, that we do that. And
Also, could I just chime
Go.
in? On that point too, they also brought up, and what we discussed, what we need to do in the facilities, start planning for things on a regular basis, so we're not going out, because they said they don't want to see us going out every 4 or 5 years for $8 or $9 million.
Right, for
They rather see it over the, just do it every year, put it into our budget like we used to have, like specific line items. So that was one of the things, as well as the technology, which Matthew does already with the computers, but, start putting maybe $200,000 so we can do certain reparations, and then we don't have to go out for the big bonds. So that was part of it, so sorry about that.
No, that's, and one of the things that we heard was that people are happy, the people are very excited that they feel they're being listened to, and their suggestions are being heard within the district, and that feel like we're making some moves in the right direction, particularly in personnel development and training, and some of the people coming in. They're excited about some of the committees that we're forming, the writing, the elementary writing, reading, and math committees, and moving toward a literacy model in those areas. They're very excited about that. And, and they were thankful that the board restored the library position last year, and so that was one comment we heard. And it just seemed to be a positive meeting. I mean, there were some very specific questions from some of the parents, but they were willing to listen and hear, so it was a good meeting.
good. That's far better than some of the other opportunities we've had at meet and greets.
You had your meeting tonight? You had a meeting tonight?
We had a very brief policy meeting this evening, and just continuing on with the meal policy at the moment, and that was really it. It was very short.
What policy?
Okay.
And IMC was canceled and technology was canceled, so.
Well, the weather will do that. So, we do have an audience comments, but unless there's some compelling, I would like to just move that to after our presentations. At least, should there be something, I'd like to at least, that opportunity is there. So we'll move that for after our presentations. Our next topic then brings us to the acceptance of the capital project vote.
So moved.
You have to read the resolution.
I'll read at least some of it. He's just got to make it a little bit bigger for me once he gets there. Click.
I think it's just the results.
I didn't see the resolution.
I didn't
I
see a
just saw the
resolution.
Well,
results.
as Mr. Hochreiter mentioned earlier, you can see that with their yes votes were 529, and this is inclusive of the absentee ballots, 529 to 254, which was a 2-to-1 margin, which again was we're very grateful that the community appreciates is willing to support this environment and these improvements for our students. Yes, they're necessities, but it's still something to be able to do it this way as opposed to trying to, with a 2% cap, figure out where that would come from otherwise. In order to do this, can we just vote to accept these results? Well, can I get a motion to accept the results of the capital project vote on December 10th, 2013? Yes for 529 and no for 254.
It's altogether too many words.
Well, she's not. There you go.
Lori has dibs.
Lori's already got it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. And that would bring us to our next topic, would be our board goals. We presented them last week with the board goals that we'd pulled together with the recommendations that people had. I asked for input. I'm so sorry, Roseanne, I didn't send these to you, did I? I sent them to everybody else.
I can send them. Do you want me to send
See,
them?
it's not just you, I forget.
Do you want Marion to
I
send them?
have them pulled up if you want me to send them to you, or to, I'll s-
It does bring, in the interim,
I can send them.
that's so stupid.
No, it's fine, it's okay.
Anyway, there's a few, basically, if you look at the goals that I did send, there were a few other suggestions that, that followed up just just afterwards. And one of them was to add in, it's not even up here at all. We don't have
I
it
can
from last-
send it right now.
I
have
think it
to-
would be helpful, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, let me just go back to my, how do I get?
I have no click. I've got
Can
it.
you just
I
send
No,
it
but
to
I don't have the copy. Do you have the copy, please?
I have the one.
Yes, one I
No,
sent,
but-
and I didn't change anything.
Oh, you didn't
from-
change it, okay. so-
No, there were
Okay.
two, you and Carol had sent some additional changes.
I have a couple of verbal ones.
Okay, but in terms of, sending them to me, there were a couple others. So we can work on those from here and then hopefully
Okay.
approve and put this to, resolve this evening.
Loading.
Tick-tock, tick-tock.
Let's see if the phone is faster.
I don't, you
I
think?
don't think in here.
I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna have
Well, that's an idea. Yeah.
an Apple.
We'll have a race,
Competition.
see who can, whose
There
phone's
you
the
go.
best.
Right. Who has better service?
Yeah, that's true. I don't even know if I have them anymore.
Did you send it to her, or is it still processed?
Still loading.
Did you hit send?
No, it's loading the attachment.
Ugh,
That's the problem.
you can't just forward just mine?
I am, but it's loading the attachment into
It
a
just,
send
it still has
file.
to do, okay.
Okay. Forward, include. Roseanne.
For those of you who were young when we started, you're not anymore.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
just.
The speed of
it's just
technology.
downloading the,
Ah, it's
it's
brutal.
downloading the attachment and is painfully.
Would it be easier just to use that copy machine and make copies for the
As
others?
opposed to not painfully painful.
Painfully
More to
unpainful.
We'd have to spend 80 cents.
I'll leave the money, 'cause that was part of the.
Which was faster?
They charge 10
The
cents
iPad,
to
but
now.
in
Not by
fairness,
much.
it started
Obviously,
earlier,
a couple dollars.
so.
Roseanne, it's right there.
I sent mine too. I sent one too, Roseanne, if you.
Let's see
You
whose
can
is
use yours.
faster.
Oh, mine did.
Thank you, Roseanne.
Oh, his went, okay.
Oh, that's right, 13. Thank you.
Got it.
So based on the conversations that we had last time, the red is what the suggestions to, based on the last ones. So those are, basically the red is what everybody seemed pretty satisfied with last time. And I just incorporated their recommendations, their suggestions and such. After looking at that, Marion and Charles has some verbal, but Marion and Carol also sent me some additional ones. One of the ones that, well, we'll just start step by step. The academic, Marion, actually, it was your suggestion, was to add a fourth goal.
And I think we can shorten
I'm
that.
sorry, methodology.
Right.
That would be the next screen, please.
The methodology.
This
is
one.
on.
Yep, so the suggestion was to add another line, a fourth goal, a fifth, but
And this was
She
based
put
on
as a-
Charles's, we talked about the playing comment and just about the environment, and then I
to
think.
provide an environment in which all students feel safe, engaged, and supported, and provide help for those who do not. I don't know that that needs to be, I mean, we can add that as a fifth
Read it again.
belief statement. Provide an environment in which all students feel safe, engaged, and supported, and provide help for those who do not. We could probably incorporate it into the third one, where it talks about a well-rounded academic environment that includes opportunities in technology, the arts, and athletics.
And safety.
Um,
Yeah, and in which students feel safe, engaged, and supported.
Correct, so,
That's, yeah.
That's
And I
okay.
think that's a good point to have safe, supported.
and then I'll just add in which all students feel safe, supported, and provide help for those who do not. Okay, so it would still remain as 4, but we would just add that on. I will make the copies and, believe it or not,
I like
send it to
that.
everybody. The next one would be in the academic goals. It's to improve the college and career readiness of our students. I think Carol and Marion both suggested adding and graduation rate. So if
No.
you take, wasn't you with the graduation?
No, it was slightly different.
Okay. So improve the college and career readiness and graduation rate of our students, just to add, those additional 3 or 4 words on that fifth goal.
Could you just say improve the college and career-ready graduation rate?
No.
No, I think it's
the
different.
readiness.
Yeah.
I think
College
just-
and career readiness
And
is
graduate.
right out of what New York State,
Okay.
And
has
graduation
stated in their
graduation
documents.
rate of our students. Is that,
right.
Yeah.
That's
is everybody
exactly what they
agreeable
said.
to adding that in? Lori, you okay?
Okay, that was my verbal. Thank
And that
you.
aligns with
All right.
our.
No, I like
I'm
that.
sorry?
Oh,
This aligns
actually-
with our pathways too, which.
Okay.
Wait,
Wait.
before
I'm
we
listening.
go. I still want to toss out on the top one, every student will be able to read, write, do math, and play at their own development. I just want to toss it out for discussion again, because I looked at some early childhood, development groups, and they talked about play as being an important
which they don't have time
element
to do anymore.
in learning to self-regulate, which then allows you to come to
That's
class.
not our goal. We don't teach a child to play. You.
You learn to
but we
play,
take that
you
away
learn to
from them.
play in a lot of different things.
You learn.
Speak, Jazz, that's why you're at the table. Look at him
I
nodding his
know.
head.
I know for my, I have no time for anything but schoolwork. I get home, I start work, and then I go to bed at like 11:30. So maybe it's an important thing to try and make some type of movement to, I guess give more opportunity. Maybe I don't want to say less homework because it's very key to learning, but some opportunity where kids can be kids for a little bit. I don't know how it would be incorporated, but I think that is an important piece.
I think even in school, within the school environment, there used to be so many opportunities, like, for children to have play experiences, which was absolutely wonderful. And I think with
Can't
a
be
lot of the
instructional. You don't
intensity
wanna-
now
you
of
don't
the
wanna teach
curriculum,
play.
people are so frustrated because there just doesn't seem to be that time
to let
for
kids
as many
play.
opportunities as they'd want to have.
The one thought I had was maybe, Charles, I put in the goal about the safe, engaged and supported, but it's different than play, but it kind of belongs with 3, with the well-rounded academic environment that would allow children to play and feel safe, engaged, and supported. So I don't know if.
It's almost redundant, it's safe, engaged, supported. I mean, not
And
the same, bring the same.
and the creativity with the arts. And I don't like, the problem with, I think, having it in the goals, being able to read, write, and do math at the right level and make measurable progress. Is that something we can really measure, how well a student can play? I don't, maybe, I think we should explore it, but I just don't know if it belongs there.
Well, our PE classes have have goals. I mean, they have developmentally appropriate guidelines about how you learn to play and do different things. I mean,
If you read the early childhood literature, and early childhood is birth through age 8, a huge indictment is we're not allowing children to play. Correct. And all of the research says it's a child's work to play. Absolutely. And it's not play in that, it's all kinds of play. It's learning spatial relations with blocks. And it's learning to navigate your social environment through imaginative play. There are very compelling studies done that incarceration rates go up when play goes down. I mean, there's huge stuff in early childhood education. But it's not saying, we're not going to teach kids how to play like we teach them to read, write, and math. But we should embrace play as part of our philosophy for working with children, especially through 3rd grade. But I don't know how
I don't know how
that
you
fits
can
as
say
a goal.
I don't think it fits
As
in
a
right
board
there.
goal,
Philosophically,
though.
it's huge, but I don't know that
That's,
it's.
I guess, was my question. It's a philosophy position statement, and in a way, as you described it, an instructional strategy, a way of engaging students.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
And
more
their
of a-
math and their language Zoom when they're
But when
allowed
you
to.
talk about, I mean, to a certain
be
extent, that
imaginative.
might already be incorporated in where you talk about students feel safe, engaged, and supported. I mean, isn't that sort of when they're engaged and supported, aren't they having fun? Isn't that play? No, I'm saying when they're engaged. No, a kid is. No, but I'm saying you're saying engaged. It's like he's paying attention. He's there. He's learning something.
I think they're talking more about unstructured time.
I want to see you guys all sell that to all the teachers.
We're
and
But
they're
I
looking at the
don't-
Common
I
Core.
don't
We
even
don't-
think
that
Our
play
teachers
has to
understand
be
instruction.
and unstructured time. I don't even think of it
Where
that
do you
way.
find
I think of, play as being able to have the time to experiment with
Right.
different things, with blocks, with even Legos, even by doing those certain activities, you're learning how to be a future engineer, how to put things together, how to examine and manipulate, different things. I don't necessarily know if we give children enough time.
I think
to be
If
able
we
to
had
do
the
all of
word
those
play
things.
in our belief statements of our
Thank
strategic
you.
plan, that would be extraordinary.
Here's
It
an
would make
idea.
us special.
Here's
It
an
would say
idea.
we understand kids.
Yeah,
But I don't know about the.
One idea,
here.
Charles, sir, if we put in the 3rd methodology, maintain and support a well-rounded academic environment that includes opportunities that includes play and opportunities in, play and creative work, I don't know, play,
I don't know how you would include it,
includes play. Well, the academic environment can include play.
I think to a certain extent it is the academic environment because it's courses like Project Lead the Way. It's some of the core curriculum courses that I'm taking. They offer a great deal of opportunity not only work with your peers but to explore things, try a different type of project, make a PowerPoint or do a 3D model or something like that. And that's definitely including a portion of play. It's not only about you picture out at recess. It's just about giving them giving children and students an opportunity to take what they're learned from the PowerPoint, from the lecture, and from the worksheets, and apply it to what's actually it's used for in the world. And I think that then feeds into the key part of getting them ready for college, getting them ready for the real world. So
You think about Google Industries and how they want their employees to have time to be playful, to be innovative, to be creative.
No, they say that.
Yeah.
So perhaps in the absence of a more blatant campaign of describing play to our community,
I think we want to be
we
innovative.
use words such as innovative, engagement, application. which gets to the philosophy without it looking funny. If a stranger on the street read the school district's goal is to have kids play,
Right.
we use different descriptors.
I think
That's
they might
right,
applaud us to
because
tell
the
you the
best
truth.
kind
Yeah.
of play
Oh my
is
God,
where
they're
children
doing
don't
something
even know
right.
that they're playing.
The
They're
best
doing
type of
things that are
learning is
so
when
much
people don't know
fun.
they're learning.
Absolutely.
They're just doing something.
That's really important.
Okay, so, all right, you know what I'd
I
like you
think
to
we
do
have
is,
to
nope,
word it,
that's
though.
fine, why don't you guys just send me what you want, and we can just bring that one particular play aspect.
good,
um,
the way you
We
said
can
it.
bring that back next time, and we'll just,
I think
we won't take care of it right now. But if you guys want to send me give you time to think about it, how you want to,
So send us what you
represent-
had
What
for
did you
three.
just say?
But I'll send something.
That was very good.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're incorporating
that a
the
little
other
bit.
parts in
Play
the
with it,
three.
yeah.
but-
Play with it.
21st century
Yes.
learning skills are creative and
Yes.
innovative.
So,
Yes.
and that's, we can
hard.
incorporate
That's
that
easy.
into our,
I think there's
our belief statements here.
I do agree with you.
One of the other aspects
Thank
that
you.
was also considered, that was also suggested, was to remove the perform consistently in the top half of Westchester Putnam school districts on New York State education departments. Feeling that there was too much emphasis on state, that it's the data-driven and all the
Yes.
specifics, for the New York State data-driven instruction, Common Core, all these other emphasis on the AP exams and such, that perhaps this was either redundant or unnecessary, or simply too much.
Certainly, at this point at least, the state tests, I don't think reflect our students' achievements. So to have that as a board goal, at least for this year and the foreseeable future until that situation is amended, I think we should
I agree.
consider taking it out. And either just taking it out or replacing it with something, it was the flip side of the graduation rate, that maybe our goal should be to improve our students' acceptance rates into one of their top 3 college or career path choices, kind of as the end goal rather than just performing in the top on the tests.
Well, that doesn't, that's not the important thing. It's, right now, everybody wants children to be college and career ready.
Right.
And I think that's more important than how we perform, on state tests.
So what do you guys think about that?
So is there consensus to remove this?
I think we should just go into the background on why we had it, and then just make sure it doesn't interfere with how we've been reporting data, because it is how we've been reporting it. And the reason we did this with looking at other districts was because it was so hard to judge our own district by itself, measuring year to year, because the tests would change every year. And so the only way we could judge how we were doing was to look at other districts and what our standing was.
We can still
Because
do that.
I mean,
though. We'll still do that.
The inconsistency is impacting everybody.
Yeah, that was right. So so we couldn't even measure from one year to the next, which was a problem with the tests. So I think it is still a goal, and I think we should still do this. But I don't know if we need to put it as an academic. I think that's a topic for discussion of the board. I think we need to think about it, and maybe we should,
Do you want to push that one in the play discussion for next time as well? I just, if that is some, or unless they're comfortable making some alternate or removing it, or some alternate goal, is there?
To go back to the background too, it was a way to measure how we were doing against the moving target. And,
Right.
for a while, we tried to use the CLEP.
The
what were other-
ERBs.
The 2 tests that we took in the fall.
The CTP4s and the ERBs.
CTP4s and those. And we got away from those because they were expensive and they were difficult to administer. But we were trying to have a way to measure how we were doing from year to year against a group of people. Part of the problem is, not problem, Westchester County is a very, very high performing group of schools. I mean, in the last Common Core test, there were only 12 counties in the whole state that were at or above the state average, and Westchester was one of them. We were right below Nassau County. Nassau and Westchester were the 2 highest performing in most of those. And so it's a very, very high target. And particularly to be in the top half of Westchester is a very high target. And that was part of our reasoning years ago when we set that target. And we were also tying other things to it at that time, as I remember. We were trying to tie some compensation and different things like that to that top half, being matching in there. So that was one of the reasons we had it at the time.
I mean, we do live in Westchester County, so we have to measure ourselves by Westchester and Putnam. Even though it's competitive, that's where we live and it's who we are.
That's why.
That's why we live here.
That's why we live, exactly.
So
Yeah.
that being
No, I
said,
understand that, but
Yeah.
especially with the Common Core being instituted, I hear so many of my friends that live in more kind of uniformly affluent areas of Westchester where their kids are having tutors 3 times a week or, special classes that they have to go to mandatory every afternoon for an hour. And there's so much going on that we can't control and that isn't controlled by the state test. And the state test format has been so disorienting or, inconsistent, exactly, that I'm not sure, at least for this year, that's really a goal that we want to aspire to or that we can hope to, I'm not sure that's where the focus should be, that's all.
Well, and there are a lot of parents too that are deciding to take their children out of having them tested, just for that very
Right.
reason,
They'll be all
Another piece we talked about, perhaps
I
there
don't
are,
think that
there are
it's that important.
there are two parallel tracks. I can appreciate the need. We're here in Westchester. We are competing by default with other districts similar, dissimilar, but in our region. And perhaps another track in addition, we spoke about in our meeting today, 2 assessments that I think are worthy of our further exploration. One is the WorkKeys assessment, which is a national national workforce readiness assessment that's used in high application, problem-solving, high application, normed throughout the country, that has big data sets to gauge as a baseline and moving forward. And the other assessment is the AccuPlacer. The AccuPlacer is a pretty standard, well-known college entrance exam, oftentimes used to determine remediation, but also has big data sets that we could judge ourselves against over time. So I think as we have a moving target in terms of a state assessment, we're all competing against that in the state and in our county, but if we also subscribe perhaps to some national data sets, we can receive different information on how our kids are doing in a much more reliable assessment. And that may be a discussion that comes out of our career pathway discussion.
And one idea would be to take out our New York State Education Department tests. That way we're performing consistently in the top half of Westchester Putnam school districts. It could be in music, it could be in
Right.
College acceptances. it
I
could-
would definitely
I would
like to
maybe
see
that'd
that.
be good for that.
And give less credence to the state.
Yeah,
test.
I think, because I do think we want to be at the top, but we don't want to give that much
Right.
credence. I think,
So you want to, so how do you want
Take
to?
out on New York
Yeah,
State
take out that.
Education Department
yeah.
tests.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not that-
Actually, but
yeah.
Joe brought up a good point, that, the AccuPlacer tests, they do those in multiple states. I know in Westchester Community College, but in Zanetta's going to school in Texas, and they're doing them up there also. They do it, and it's a very good screen, and that's the test that you're going to have to take. Almost all, I don't know if all colleges do it, but all community colleges seem like they do it, to see if you're going to be, where you're going to be placed. You have to take that test, and it's a pretty efficient process at WCC. I mean, you go in, you're tested, and they tell you, okay, you're going to be in this English class or this English class, and they do a writing piece, and it's done.
We heard from schools today that use it as an end-of-year assessment in 11th grade that helps foster conversations between students and guidance departments as they prepare for senior year, to say, look, here's your AccuPlacer assessment. Yes, you're 1 year away from being college eligible, but you might need that extra math course, or rather than coming in late or leaving early your senior year, we have data that says you could use some support, and they engage parents to say, use us in 12th grade, or use our courses in 12th grade for that support, rather than pay for it when you get to college and not get credit for it.
It's very much.
But that actually might be a better measuring stick,
Sure.
you know, that you're ready, like you're talking about, Carol, that you're ready to get into your
Okay.
Right.
top three.
All right, well, I think at least to take the goal that perform consistent, I think that suits here. I think our measuring and our options for how we're going to determine that I don't think that's going to be determined tonight. I'm sorry, can you go to the next one? That would be if you look, it was to continue to take a long-term perspective in addressing financial plans. And because I couldn't handle the 3 E's anymore, I moved effective to responsible. It's just too much for me.
Where was the?
It was number 4.
Yes.
So, basically, just to continue taking a long-term perspective to articulate that we actually do, that is part of our plan. The next one. These were all, the red is everything that was discussed and, last time. Our fiscal goals, safe, clean, instructionally effective, I think it was academically, and it was just changed it to instructionally, and negotiate a favorable pilot agreement with Entergy, which, whether you want to put that even as number 1, that's pretty significant.
But actually,
Yeah, I would put.
I would change it, not put a name on it, or a bullseye, and just say negotiate contracts that allow Hendrick Hudson to stay within the tax cap limit.
The more specific, the better. I mean, this is something that's looming over our heads.
This one's a big one.
Yeah,
for the
this is
district.
huge.
Yeah, I think it's like the elephant in the room. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a point in not putting Entergy on there.
That's what I
Yeah.
said
So-
before.
So,
When does that begin?
the next,
It's not a negative, it's-
our next is governance, methodology, belief statements, and that we added, develop community recognition of our rigorous and challenging academics, district initiatives, and student achievement using various modes of communication. Whether it's, internal through our Connect Eds or soundings or the school papers, but also the media as well, which I know that Mr. Hochreiter's that's been a conversation with him as well, that's a huge issue. Governance goals would be to improve perception of Hendrick Hudson Schools by all stakeholders. It's not just parents, it's not just students, it's not just grandparents, or, everybody. I want the community, the business leaders, to have some comfort level with the school district and to realize exactly how great the school is. And frankly, it's always been our concern and problem that the word just doesn't seem to get out. And that goes to improve communication with the staff and community members, resulting in clearly defined avenues of communication and remediation of concerns. Again, and we can thank, I guess, Karsten and Lori predominantly for the meet and greet idea. But absolutely, and the acknowledgement from people to, just to feel free to come and to address us, to reach out to us through our, whether it's email, whether, the phone numbers, everything's on our website, and to feel comfortable to ask us for what their concerns are. And the last was implementation of a unified identifiable insignia for the entire district. The word, there was brand, Marion hated insignia.
Me too.
Brand, well, my problem, brand just sounded so like, Madison Avenue. I thought brand did, but insignia, I'm serious, I went through the thesaurus and tried like all different words that like.
But insignia, it sounds like it's a badge of loyalty, and then plus
But it's not, it actually fits. I know if you don't like the word, I'm fine, but brand just screamed,
could
like
put
buy
an
me.
Could we do,
We can put symbol, we can put
Logo?
something else.
I
know
think
what we
branding is
mean.
known in marketing world.
We can do brand if you want, that's fine, if
Put
that's,
it in little quotes.
but we'll put brand in quotes, how's that?
Or insignia / brand.
It
would be
shows
fine.
that everybody hates the word. I just,
we were talked about too, about the alumni, where are we fitting that into?
They're stakeholders.
that would be,
Well, by stakeholders, they're not a
No, it's
stakeholder if
different,
they're
yeah.
out in California or, I think that's something we've talked about, trying to really tap into that.
Yeah,
Some of
and
the successes is, for the new program we're
Outreach.
talking about, outreach, but
Alumni
also
relations.
financially and all different things
Yes.
that,
well, then I think develop,
Develop.
perhaps develop community recognition, expand outreach. or
No,
make that
how
as a
about-
goal.
But also to recognize
Develop-
what some of the alumni are doing. I mean, we have a lot of alumni that's going on.
Establish a better relationship
Yeah.
with our alumni.
So you want that as a
How
goal
about develop
too?
a program involving,
You want that as a
alumni?
goal, you want that added as a goal to establish greater, you know.
We got a lot to do.
Yeah, outreach
Yeah,
to-
really.
to us, yeah.
Too many.
I think it's-
You want that as just, it's in with our communication, but
We're not tapping into it very.
Yeah, let's
well,
think
then, you
about
know,
good
why don't think
resource.
about, you know what, improve communication with our staff, community members, and just add. Alumni.
Yep,
That's, I mean, it's
That's
there,
good.
just add it right in. If
Yep.
there's
That's
somebody
even
else that
better.
we're missing,
nope.
or group, then that's fine, and alumni. All right, I'll make these changes. We will have further discussion about the play issue. And there's.
Can we go
and-
back to the logo part real quick? Can we get one consistent HUD blue?
that would
I'm
be
a-
nice.
I'm a culprit of wearing shades of blue.
Whichever blue they give you.
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of your,
Isn't that a
Yeah.
song?
No,
Okay,
we-
so,
part of our
um,
strategic
That being
plan.
said, that brings us to audience comments. Can I get, does anybody
No.
have anything to add? Come on up, honey.
Oh, cool.
Hi. For the insignia
Your name,
thing.
honey.
Oh,
Yes,
my
your name.
name's Emma Willinger,
Hi.
and I'm a junior at the high school.
Okay.
And I was thinking that instead of insignia, it should be image, like a whole image of Hen Hud instead of making it like a brand or something like that. It just like portrays like our whole school, like what we're meant for. And, yeah.
Image might be a good choice.
And
Thank you, honey.
And also about the other one, under academicals, it said, like, read, write, and do math. And I think that, like, doesn't portray all of, like, the things that are offered in school. Like, it's not just math, reading, and writing. There are other things like science and electives. So I think that should be portrayed in that, not just like do math. And that doesn't really sound like an educated way to state that. So
Yeah, no, do math
Yeah.
doesn't sound
No.
it, but it's.
yeah, if you say like just make something to say like all the subjects.
All subjects.
We
Yeah, or
actually,
something.
just as an insight, if the academic, the methodology, we do address that here. Could you, is there a way to get back to that? Oh, that's okay.
No.
It does talk about a well-rounded academic environment that includes opportunities, technology, the arts, athletics, you know, and also addresses rigorous and challenging. We will, you
Could
know, the
add
do math,
science.
we can work on that.
You could
I
add
can
science.
understand.
It's more than just
But
science,
absolutely,
just
it's
that.
something that we do support. It's not a part of the goals, but it's part of our methodology and our belief statement that it is important to have, you know, that all these opportunities available to the students here. Because it's not just the math, the reading, writing, and doing math that
Oh,
makes
that
you
should be
guys,
the fun part. Wait a minute.
that makes you guys, you know, what you are when you graduate. There's so much more to that you take away with you, so, you know. But thank you
Those are the
thank you for your offer and your suggestions. That
Those-
image, she's probably sitting here going, image, people, image.
I wanted to raise my hand.
Yeah.
Well,
But just so you
you
know,
came up
when
and told
we
us.
came up with the branding and like the images, like you have Furnace Woods has their own name, BV has their own name, but we're all sailors. That's why we figured, you know, promote the whole district as
As
sailors.
one
and
district.
As one district instead of each school having their own little, you know, like the BV Owls or, you know, whatever they
So
would
that's
call
We're all
it.
sailors.
Yeah,
That's the
so-
idea, is to keep
Yeah.
us, so,
So,
thank you very much.
I think that that's
No
what
problem.
we were looking at, you know, the
All right.
different
Is that it?
Yeah,
PBIS
that's it.
Okay.
names that the
Does
schools
anybody
kind
else?
of adopted.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Could I say one quick thing?
Oh, sure,
Sure.
absolutely.
All right. So I just like to jump back to that concept of repping Hen Hud throughout, you know, not only New York State, but in some of the programs that we're now offering throughout the country. And I think that's a really, really big thing. You know, I'm going around. You know, when I say I'm from Hen Hud, you know, there are some words thrown around. There's, I guess, a certain concept of what our high school specifically is, which is completely incorrect. And you know, wherever they got that from, that misconstrued information, I think we're working really hard to kind of get rid of that. So I just really like to thank, I'm not sure who's involved, but the approval of some of the new clubs and national leadership programs that we're instituting, specifically HOSA, so the Health Occupation Student Association, which I'm now be running for presidency for. It's a really
I
phenomenal.
think somebody's looking for an endorsement.
No, I wanted to thank you guys because this is the first year that we're jumping in with it, and from what I hear, it was completely accepted. No questions asked. It was promoted, and there is travel costs and things, but that means getting the Hen Hud name out there and getting everyone to know about Hen Hud Blue, Hen Hud Sailors as a really amazing thing. And so I just wanted to
Perception does not reflect reality. that's
exactly
for sure.
exactly. But I wanted to thank everyone who's involved for
Well, thank you,
making the perception actually reflect reality. Throughout that.
Thank
kind of
you,
stuff.
because
Thank
it's
you.
people like
Yeah.
you that are going to help
Might
do
make the
that.
difference, yeah.
So thank you.
They're not listening to us, dude. They're watching you.
The parents are probably crying. They can't watch it yet. When they watch it,
Exactly.
they're gonna cry.
So, are there any other board comments? Right?
Happy holidays.
well,
Everyone
okay.
have safe
She was
travels.
going to get to that.
Well,
Well,
she
we were
asked me
getting
if
there.
you had comments.
Just a reminder, the Jack McGuire basketball tournament's tomorrow night.
Jen.
It's
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's the first games. I think we play at 7 o'clock. Jez, you know what time?
And that's here at the high school?
Yeah, I had.
It's at the high school.
Jake
yeah.
Smith tweeted it to me. It's like at 6:15.
6:15 is our game?
Yeah.
So the first game, I believe, is Valhalla and Lincoln, and then Hen Hud plays Yonkers
have to come.
Montessori. But it's for a great cause, for Jack McGuire, who passed away 5 years ago. It's a great, you guys, it's really.
Absolutely.
He
It
would have
was
been,
Kate's
7 years
birthday
ago.
the
he
other
would
day.
have
It's
been
always
a
sentimental.
junior. So get out and support. I think it's good for the
It's a
community to
wonderful
come together.
community
Yep.
event. Yep.
So it was
Another
7 years
community
ago.
event will be the fundraiser, as Mr. Hochreiter
7
said,
years
this
8 years
Tuesday is a fundraiser. It will be here in the high school cafeteria. It's going to be in conjunction with the Lions Club. It's a fundraiser for the families that were affected by the Metro North disaster, tragedy. And it was the Lions, they will also be doing it started out as the Lions doing a Christmas, pictures with Santa. And it evolved into, and Santa will still be there.
Okay.
And there will still be photos with Santa. There you go. And, so be good. So it's photos with Santa, pasta dinner. There's going to be like arts and crafts. It's a lot of activities for little ones as well. So it's very much a community event
And for that
to
event,
benefit
yeah.
the families
Jack
that
says
were
feeling better.
that
We
were
have to
hurt.
bring him
so.
back in so we
if
get a better view.
people
of
can,
him.
you can spread it around the district and around the town. If people can't actually make it to the actual event, Claire Carey is, setting up the whole food aspect. I know I'm staying after with her to set up, right from 2:07 on till the night. So if you can't make it for the actual event, it would be much, much appreciated to drop by the kitchen for 15, 20 minutes, help prepare something. Every little bit
She'll
counts,
make you a
so.
plate.
She'll make you a plate, exactly.
So our next meeting, will be January 8th. It'll be a Wednesday. It will be here at the high school. And in the interim, happy holidays. Happy safe
Yes.
travels to anybody who's not going to be home. But enjoy this time with your families. So can I get a motion to close?
Thank you.
So
Yes.
moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
Yes, you got it.
Stay 2 minutes.